In this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to herd manage your Grey Wolf Great One grind in order to spawn hundreds of diamonds, bigger rares, and possibly even that Great One way faster. So without further ado, my friends, if this video sounds like something you guys might enjoy, I'd strongly suggest staying until the end, because if you guys do miss out on any information at all, it can and very well will mess up the method. So without further ado, my friends, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So before we do dive in, I do just want to let you guys know that this is in fact the simplest Grey Wolf herd management guide that you are going to find on YouTube. I will promise you that. This isn't just a video with a bunch of information thrown in, packaged up and made to look professional. This is a video where I will be explaining to you in depth, in the order of the process, exactly how and why you're doing all of the different steps that you need to do to herd manage your wolf population. I will be explaining all of this in the simplest way that I can possibly explain to you. So if you do not understand herd management by the end of this video, which if you pay close attention and you watch until the end, you definitely should. I am a 16-year-old content creator and I understand this, so it's really not that complicated, my friends. Then I would definitely suggest taking a step back, maybe getting more used to the game and kind of figuring out the way the game works before herd managing. So now that all that information is out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So from the beginning, what is herd management? Herd management is the process of shooting all of the mid-level animals out of your exterior zones, or the zones that you're not going to be mainly rotating through, until they all respawn as minimum level animals, or minimum weight animals, depending on the grind that you're doing. And what having your entire map besides the main zones that you're grinding filled with those minimum weight animals is going to do, is it's going to force spawn big animals into your main zones, which you then grind off of. And it drastically increases your diamond spawn rate, the size of your rares. For example, I literally just shot a super rare acromelanistic diamond wolf in Wednesday's video if you guys haven't seen that already. Strong suggestion for some good Call of the Wild entertainment. Texas heart shot at him. And when herd managing, you're gonna spawn all different types of trophies like that. So if you didn't understand anything there, do not worry. We're gonna cover it all here in today's video, starting off with the very basics, getting your grind set up. Now, if you're doing this specifically for the wolf grind, it's at this point where you guys need to go watch my How to Spawn a Great One Wolf guide. That's basically my setup guide where I show you exactly how I'm set up. I'm assuming that you guys have already found all of your drink zones, which in that video, nearing the end where I talked about herd management, I mentioned that I'd be making a herd management guide for the Grey Wolf soon, and well, here we are. The very first step to wolf herd management here in Yukon Valley is going to be to find all of your drink zones, or for any map that you're wolf managing in. I would just strongly suggest to you Yukon because it has the least amount of zones out of any map that Grey Wolves are on. Now I'm going to go ahead and toss a hotspot map up on screen for you guys right now that shows you exactly when and where you can find Grey Wolves here in Yukon Valley. What you need to do is set the time to 2 AM, which is an hour before the end of their drink time. Run every single highlighted area several times until you've found all of your drink zones. Now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have all of my drink zones or not? Well, isn't this just the perfect time to explain to you how to tell? So what you're going to want to do is go to any zone on your entire map that has males and females in it. For me, I'm choosing this one. Find a single male Grey Wolf. It doesn't matter how big it is. There's no criteria right now. Just find a male as long as it's not a solo zone. If you don't know what a solo zone is, it's a zone with only males or a singular male in it. So make sure it's not a solo zone. You want females and males in the zone, and simply shoot a male. What you're doing right now is you're testing your respawns. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this 7. And the reason that you need to find all of your drink zones is so that way you get consistent respawns. So what's gonna happen, given the fact that I have 99% of my drink zones, is because of the fact that I shot and now claim this wolf. You have to claim it, that's a very important part. This wolf is now going to respawn. Now, if I didn't have all of my drink zones, this wolf would respawn somewhere completely random in the highlighted areas that you guys seen on the hotspot map that wolves can spawn in at. Those highlighted areas are the only areas that Grey Wolf drink zones will spawn at. Now, given the fact that I have all of my drink zones, this goes for any species. That Grey Wolf that I just shot out of this individual zone will respawn into this individual zone. If I were to come to this zone here and shoot 2 males out of this zone here, because of the fact that I have all of my drink zones, those 2 males will respawn in that zone that I just shot them off of. Very simple. So in order to tell if you have all your drink zones or not, I just shot that 7 and claimed it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the outpost here. I'm gonna go ahead and reset the time back to 2 a.m., which is the time that I always set it to when restarting a rotation. I'm gonna go ahead and main menu just to get everything nice and reset. We'll go ahead and click continue and go back to that zone that I just shot and claimed that 7 from, which was right here. And as you can see, kinda crazy, this doesn't happen every time, but the 7 that we shot respawned as another 7. There were 2 7s here before, I shot and claimed 1, I reset the time and came back, and well, there's another 7 here. So therefore, because there's another male here, I am getting consistent respawns, which means that I have all of my drink zones. Now, if you don't have any new males, then that means you're not getting consistent respawns, therefore you have more zones to find. If at any point in any grind, not just the wolf grind, you stop getting consistent respawns, that means you need to go find more drink zones. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and start talking about what you're gonna do after you've found all your drink zones. So once you have found all of your drink zones, and you know you found all of them because you're getting consistent respawns, I believe there's around 45 to 50 drink zones for the Grey Wolves in total here in Yukon. That's just what I've heard throughout my community. You're now at the point in your grind where you want to start to pick your main shooter zones. Now this is where a lot of people get confused, so I'm going to go extremely slow here. Your main shooter zones are 8 zones that you choose simply because you like them. These are the main zones that you're going to be shooting from, where you're going to spawn your great one at, where you're going to stack your diamonds, and after you've herd managed, this is where your entire grind is going to be done at. The rest of your map will be left alone. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and pick those 8 zones and set down 8 tents at each of those zones. That's all you need to do for now. The other 8 tents that you're going to be able to place, as there is a 16 tent limit on each map, unfortunately, you're going to use to jump around your map conveniently temporarily. So what I would recommend doing is place those 8 extra tents for the wolf grind, like, I don't know, maybe the bottom of this swampy area here, there's a crap ton of wolf zones in there, maybe on the other side of this big lake here, or the edge of this big lake here where you're going to find zones, in between some lakes, on the edges of the river systems. Just make do with the 8 extra tents that you have, so that way you can get to the zones that are not your 8 main zones without having to use outposts, so that way it'll just save you a little bit of time. Trust me, over time that time is going to add up. It is very, very worth it. So now that you're set up at those 8 main zones, and you've picked and chose those 8 main zones, you know for sure those are the zones that you're going to want to use. What you're going to want to do now is go ahead and do your first rotation. If you haven't already, set up with tripods at your main zones. Tweak your tent and tripods around just so you can shoot. Do not worry about claim tents right now, we'll talk about those later. Go ahead and do 1 or 2 rotations, meaning shoot some males out of each of your main zones that you're set up on. After that you've done your first rotation, you can now do your first exterior run. Now an exterior run is simply going to the most amount of zones that you can besides the 8 main zones that you originally set up at. And in the process of going to all of these other zones, which kind of a code name for the rest of your map, besides your 8 main zones, is exterior zones as we call them, just to try to keep it simple, but I honestly think it confuses people when we say that. So I'm just going to say the rest of your map for now. What you're going to want to do specifically for the Grey Wolves, or for any species that goes up to 9 legendary, is shoot the level 6s and above. Now this doesn't apply to red deer. For red deer you shoot the 5s and above, but for the Grey Wolves, if it's a level 6, it dies. If it's a level 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1, you leave it. You never shoot females at any point during this grind, so we're just not even going to talk about them. The only thing you need to know about females is try your best not to shoot them. Now you only shoot the 6s and above in your exterior zones, and the reason for this is because you're leaving those 5s and below in your exterior zones, and over time your exterior zones will eventually become all 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. You want to make sure that there's no level 6s in your exterior zones, or the rest of your map besides the 8 main zones that you originally picked and set up on. And what this is going to do is make it so that way little to no Grey Wolves will jump to other zones, meaning that you can grind your main zones, and quite frankly never have to worry about the rest of your map again, and the wolves that are going to be respawning in your main zones will consistently be big levels, so 7s, 8s, and 9s. you're gonna get a lot of diamonds, trust me. You're also gonna get a lot of trolls, pre-warning. Now, this is not gonna happen overnight. Take note that every single time you find a shooter male in an exterior zone, so a level 6 or above, which obviously you're gonna need to shoot, it is definitely not guaranteed that it's gonna come back as a level 5 or lower, which is the goal here. Obviously, you're gonna leave any level 5s and lower, but also, there's no way that you're just gonna get lucky enough for every single zone besides your main zones that you originally picked and set up on to already be filled with strictly 5s and below. That's just not gonna happen right off of the bat. You need to shoot them down. Now, certain zones are already shot down. You might be lucky and the zone will consist of a 5 and maybe a 4 and some females. But trust me, you're gonna find zones with 6s, 7s, and you might even find diamonds in exterior zones, which is really, really bad. If you find a diamond in an exterior zone, you always want to shoot it because all that it's gonna do is make smaller males respawn in your main zones. You never want that. Now let's use this zone right here as an example. It's very, very annoying. I've been trying to shoot it down for a while now. I have a main zone out here with a ton of males in it. This zone over here is not a main zone. I want to shoot it down. So as you can see, we have a level 6 male in here. Literally the only thing that I can do to try to fill this zone with level 5s and below is shoot that level 6 and pray to the Lord above that it comes back as a 5 or below. And you're doing that over and over and over again on every single zone on your map besides your main zones that has shooters in it. Now, if this zone just had a level 5 male in it and all these females, I wouldn't even worry about that zone. Why? Because that zone is shot down. You want every single zone besides the zones that you're set up on, or your main zones, like this one here. See, we got a 7, got an 8. We also got some 5s, which are also going to die, to look like that. Any males in the zone, level 5s or below, in females. So therefore, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this level 6 here, and we're going to talk about a way to drastically increase your chances of males that you shoot in your exteriors to come back as level 5s or below. So to increase your chances of those shooter males in your exteriors coming back as non-shooters or level 5s or below, there is one thing that you can do that definitely helps. Now, as I mentioned a second ago, having diamonds in your exterior zones, or just big wolves in general, which is kind of the whole reason that we're talking about shooting down your map right now, is gonna make it so that way your main zones do not get very big respawns consistently. You're gonna spawn a lot of 5s, 6s, when realistically you want those max weight wolves, 7s, 8s, and obviously 9s. So if you think about it, what if you did the opposite? Having max weight animals in your main zones, specifically 9 legendaries, which is max level for the Grey Wolves besides 10, which is obviously the goal here, which is a great one, is gonna make it so that way, when you shoot shooter males out of your exterior zones, those shooter males will come back as smaller levels way more consistently if you have diamonds inside of your main zones. So what I would recommend doing is when you're really, really early off in herd management, do a couple rotations through your main zones and try to spawn a diamond. When you spawn a diamond in your main zone, leave it. So let's say, for example, we shot this zone here a few minutes ago. Let's say a diamond respawns there. I would just leave it. Go shoot some exterior zones. Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll shoot a zone or two down. And then come back and do another rotation. Or a couple more rotations, better yet. Try to get like 3 or 4 diamonds to spawn into your main zones, and having 3 or 4 max level animals in your main zones is going to drastically increase your chances. I mean, it really, really helps, trust me. I've heard manage like 15 grinds. It's gonna make it so that way you get some small respawns in your exterior zones. Now, it's not gonna happen every time. You're still gonna spawn 6s, you're still gonna spawn 7s. It's just the way the game works, but it definitely will help. So once you make it to the point where the vast majority of your exterior zones are shot down to level 5s and below, what you can now do is area by area, tent by tent, start to pull those tents that I talked about setting up in convenient areas at the beginning of the video. Don't pull them all at once unless you've shot down your entire map and you're sure you won't need them anymore. And now what you can do is begin to set up claim tents. Now, claim tents are simply just the tent that we place on top of the zone that we're shooting, so that way once we shoot an animal, for example this level 5 here, instead of running all the way over there, we can just click the tent and fast travel over there. And instead of running 250 meters, we can run like 15 meters to claim our kill. Now, this may not seem like much of a time saver, but over time, it saves you hours. Precious, precious hours of shooting, my friends. And after you've herd managed, you should have exactly 8 extra tents that will leave you with 1 tent to set up as a claim tent at every single main zone that you're set up at, because as I mentioned, you should pick 8 main zones, so that will leave you with 8 claim tents, putting you at 16 tents, which is the map limit. Now also take note that you do not need to shoot down your entire map. You can have some zones with like 6s in it, maybe an occasional 7. I wouldn't recommend having like 10 zones that are just completely not shot down, but if you've searched your entire map, you've shot most every single 9 legendary you can find, you've shot every single mythical you can find, and you feel like you're at that point where you just want to start going through your main zones, try it and see how consistent your diamond spawn rate is. For me, I do what's called medium herd management, so I shoot down about 50% of my exterior zones in every single diamond on my map. Obviously, you never want diamonds in your exterior zones, that'll just ruin your grind. And the reason that I do this is because I do not like spawning a diamond every 10 kills. It genuinely ruins the grind for me. It burnt me right out of the mule deer grind, it burnt me right out of the fallow deer grind, and I'm just not the type of person that likes a diamond every 10 kills. It genuinely makes you get sick of the grind, and you know, when you go into multiplayer or something and you find a diamond fallow deer, it's just like, oh, there's another diamond fallow deer. You don't even get excited about it because you already have 600 of them or how many ever. It's just at least my opinion. If you want a diamond every 10 kills, then you can definitely do some extremely heavy herd management, and you'll probably get diamonds every 10 kills depending on how heavy your HM is. But for me, it's just less work for me. I don't get burnt out of the grind, so I actually get excited when I spawn diamonds, because for me it's like 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 kills. And when things like a super rare spawn, I literally dang near go into cardiac arrest, so that's just an FYI there. But hey, if this video helped you guys out, definitely let me know down below by smashing that like button and subscribing, as it is very much appreciated. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am a 16-year-old content creator pretty much doing this full time, so any support would be very much appreciated, as my goal is to turn this into a full-time job. Doing something as simple as hitting the like button can get the video pushed to just a few more people, and if everybody does it, hopefully the YouTube algorithm will push it to a few thousand more, right? So without further ado, my friends, my name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Outdoors, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, my gamers.